Welcome back to Studio 5. I'm guest host Daylin Dove, filling in for Brooke today. 15 to 20% of the global population exhibit some form of neurodivergence, meaning their brains function and process information differently from what is typically considered neurotypical. But different doesn't mean less, and disability doesn't equate to inability. I love those words. There are two beliefs that my next guest holds close to her heart. Ginger Healy is a clinical social worker and a mother of 2 children with autism, and she's sharing how we can better nurture neurodiversity in children. Welcome, Ginger.
Thank you.
It's so fun to have you. You bring a lightness and a brightness to our studio, so we're grateful to have you.
Thank you for that.
Now, this is a topic that actually hits pretty close to home with you. Tell us about your family.
Yeah, I have 2 kids who are neurodivergent. My son, Alec, is 23, and my daughter, Ellie, is 18. And Alec was diagnosed when he was really young. Ellie was only diagnosed a couple years ago. And so here I was thinking that I was an expert in autism. But with Ellie, I missed some of her needs. I didn't recognize her differences. So it's been this journey of seeing how each kid is different and has different needs, and how I can really celebrate the differences between the 2 of them.
I love that word, celebrate. And we kind of talked earlier, it's so important for if nobody else gets us, mom gets us or grandma gets us, and we have that safe place. Explain a little bit to us neurodiversity versus neurodivergent.
Well, a neurodivergent individual is going to think and process things differently. Neurodiverse is a term that encompasses a wide variety of neurological or developmental conditions. And so the most common of those are autism and ADHD.
Okay, and as we go through this, you're going to help us know how parents and grandparents, they can accommodate and celebrate our children's uniqueness.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I want to start off talking about our senses, because sensory integration and sensory processing challenges almost always accompany neurodivergence.
Okay.
So you can do something like a sensory audit where you're scanning and looking through the environment, whether it's home or at school, wherever the child is, and you're looking for and noticing what sights, sounds, smells, tastes, touch can really overwhelm or frustrate and stop a child. And that once we know what's tripping them up, how can we modify the environment? How can we help? Do we need to dim the lights? Do we need to offer headphones? My son taught me all about this. So many things. I love to cook in the crock pot. The smell wafts through the house, right? And it's cozy and it's yummy. So one day I put the roast in the crock pot. A couple hours later, I go to check on it. Where's the crock pot? The crock pot's missing.
Oh no.
He had unplugged it, taken it to the garage because the smell had actually started to make him physically sick. Right? So now I just plug the crock pot in the garage. That's an easy fix, so we can still have dinner, right?
Oh, it's the best of both worlds, and you're meeting him where he's at.
Right.
Oh, I love that. Okay, next you're saying we need to drop the one-size-fits-all approach.
Yeah. One thing is true with autism, and that's that everybody with that diagnosis is different. So there's not going to be a treatment plan that's ABC for everybody. We have to really look at and tailor the supports, the accommodations for each individual child. One size will fit one, and that's okay.
I love that, especially when it comes to our kids are at school for the majority of the day, right? So how can we as parents, as grandparents, how can we better advocate for them at school?
Right, so you can advocate for inclusivity, go to the school, volunteer at the school, get involved, open communication, create a relationship with the teacher and all those that surround your child, and offer to educate and train. When it comes to like individual education plans or behavior plans, look at the supports instead of looking at what needs to be changed or fixed. Focus on what can we add in, brain breaks, movement breaks, sensory supports, and honoring all forms of communication, nonverbal language, augmentative, assistive communication devices, echolalic communication, sign language. Those are all valid forms of communication and should be welcomed in the classroom.
Oh, that's so good. And I think something that most moms think about. I love this next one. You're wanting to teach children to listen to their bodies. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it sounds intuitive that you know that if you're thirsty, you need to take a drink, or that when you need to go to the bathroom. But really, truly, neurodivergent kids often struggle to make that connection to the cues that their bodies are sending them. They don't recognize that. So we need to model that and talk openly about that. I'm feeling hungry, so I'm going to eat. My bladder feels pressure, so I'm going to use the bathroom. It's cold outside. I'm going to wear a jacket. We model that, we talk about that, and then it becomes more intuitive, but it's just about bringing awareness to the messages that our body sends us.
Oh, it's so good. And a good reminder for something we may not think about a lot.
We don't think about it often.
And finally, you want us to nurture, I love this, positive identity, and of course, focus on their strengths.
Yeah. Neurodivergent kids receive way more negative feedback from the outside environment than their neurotypical peers. They often hear, stop doing that.
Right.
And they're told that they need to change things. It just sends this message that they internalize that I'm different, I'm not normal, I need to change, something's wrong with me. That greatly impacts their mental health and their confidence.
Absolutely.
So if we assume competence, right, that they can do it and focus on their strengths and not on the deficits, then we can just, celebrate those differences.
And create confidence.
Absolutely. So this was such an important message for me to learn as a mom, because I just always seem to have my own agenda, right, that I think I know best. Every day I would say to my son, hey, bud, have you taken your medication? And he would say, yeah, Mom, have you taken yours? And I felt like that was kind of rude or that it was disrespectful. And so I was like, that's not very nice.
Yeah.
Every day, though, that pattern repeated, and he would say that back to me, and I started getting frustrated, feeling like I needed to punish him, change him, and convince him to be more compliant. Finally, one day I said, why haven't you stopped doing that? Why do you keep asking me that? And he looked at me so puzzled, and he said, Mom, because I love you.
Oh,
every day you say to me, have you taken medicine? Because medicine helps. It'll help me feel better. I want you to feel better. What can I do? Have you taken medicine? Can I get you medicine? I just had completely misunderstood and misread his vocal tone. I assumed the worst. When it was me that needed to change,
Ginger,
not him.
So good. It's so good. All these points are so great. We always love having you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.